understand I was placed on the agenda, so.
Yes.
First off, I'd like to say that I could even hear half of what was discussed. This is probably the most emotional issue that I've ever been involved in, probably one of the most emotional issues we could have in our community. And I will say that no animal control officer, past or present, enjoys having to euthanize animals. And I've been involved in 4 euthanizations, they've all been my own personal animals. And there's no problem. There's nothing to be gained by an animal control officer to not follow the prescribed guidelines. There's no benefit to it. These people are probably more emotionally attached to these animals in the animal shelter than most people are to their pets. Develop relationships with them over time, and when the time finally comes, they have to take disposal. One thing that's going to be that is effective immediately, one of our local veterinarians has contacted us, and he's willing to come in and supervise any and all euthanasia. And we welcome that. We've asked him to come in, and we appreciate that. So anytime there's any euthanizing done at the shelter, he will be in attendance. A lot of these other things, I couldn't hear what was being said. Then we'll have a record of those, and we'll take a record and review it and look at it.
We can't hear you.
Wait what decisions the board makes, and I will certainly abide by those. Opposed, privatize the shelter, that's fine. I will still provide the enforcement side of the animal control laws.
Thank you.
Can we ask the sheriff a couple of questions?
Who the vet is? Yes.
The vet.
Who's the vet?
Would you be willing to answer some questions, Gary?
I'll be very honest with you, I'm not answering any specific questions that you're going to have as far as the procedures, the things that are done in the shelter.
Could we start with something very general? This is a procedure called Wexford County Sheriff's Office Animal Control Policy. Is this your policy?
Yes.
Okay. So we do have a policy at the animal control. Is it followed?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. Specifically, there's a lot of things in here, if you go through it, that don't appear to be, that match up. One of the items that is in here that talks about animal hold, that there's supposed to be a 4-day hold as a minimum.
Right.
And yet, we were talking already, we've heard people talk about the fact that there are animals that are not on the record of even being there and are disposed of at the time they're received.
I cannot respond to those comments that they made here tonight. I can tell you that if it is, it's a violation of the policy. In fact, our policy is even more strict than the state requirements of 4 days for unidentified or animals and 7 days for ones that have identification. Ours is 5 and 7.
Okay? If you find that your employees are not conforming to the policy, I assume you'll take care of that? For instance, one of the policies is that the money will be turned in weekly to the treasurer's office. Last year, there were simply 3 deposits for the whole calendar year of 2012. There's a number of examples that are similar to that. I think you need to go back and look at whether they're adhering to the policy.
I also think that probably should have been made aware of this either by the treasurer or the administrator.
It's your policy, it's not theirs. This is your policy.
Evidently, that's his last comment. Is his last. That brings us down to